There are a lot of survey land scams here in Lagos, and the most difficult common land scam for you to trace here in Lagos is the survey land scam. Now, for you to understand how to avoid this particular land scam, you first need to understand what is a survey plan and the different inscriptions that is going to be in a survey plan. This is the best way for you to know when you see a fake survey or when the details and descriptions inside a survey plan is a scam. In case you are coming across a video like this for the first time, this is Meet the Property channel, and this is where we discuss everything real estate. Either you want to buy, invest, or sell a property here in Nigeria. If this is your first time watching our video, you can, after watching this particular educative and enlightening video, you can also go to a lot of our previous episodes and previous guides. You are going to learn a lot. And if you have been learning a lot already, this is also another opportunity for you to finally subscribe and be part of the channel. So let's look at the different details that have to be in the survey plan and how you can avoid a survey land scam here in Lagos. Now, the first detail that must be on the survey plan is the name of the owner or name of the owners of the property. Now, it's very important you check this accurately, particularly if the survey plan is done for you. You must check that the name is accurately spelled right from the first letter to the last letter, because any mistake in that particular name will render the other documents you want to do with that survey plan useless, which includes the governor's consent, if there is a CFO already, or you want to apply for a CFO on that property. Is the name on that survey that they are going to use to process every other document. So that's why the name of the owner or owners on the survey plan is very, very important. Now, for a property that you're also interested to buy, once they give you the survey plan, the first thing you have to check is the name of the owner or the owners that are on that property. Is it jointly owned in terms of a Mr. and Mrs.? Is it a corporate owned in terms of maybe is an estate company or estate organization that owns the property? Or is it owned by an individual, and is it the person that is presenting his or herself as the owner of the property that his or her name is also on the survey plan? So the name of the owner of the property is the first thing that you must check and make sure is very, very accurate on a survey plan document. Now, the next inscription that is always on a survey plan is the surveyor's seal. Now, this surveyor's seal is also equally important because this represents that the survey plan was done by a registered surveyor, not just a quack. But one thing you need to note here is that the surveyor's seal does not represent that the survey plan has been registered either in Alausa or any Ministry of Land. No, the surveyor's seal only means that the survey plan is done by a registered surveyor, and the surveyor has included his or her seal on that plan to authenticate and authorize that survey document. Now, for a lot of survey documents that are done by quacks or people that are not registered surveyor, there is no way they are going to put a seal there, and there is no way you can track who have done that survey document if there is any issue or any error on that particular survey plan. And that's why most times I always advise it, when you want to give a project out or a job out, give it to professionals. They may charge you more, but it's better you give a professional because they are going to do the right job for you. And in case there is any error or issue with that particular job that you are giving them, you can always track and trace them. That's one of the very key importance of having that surveyor seal on a survey plan document. Again, it doesn't mean that the survey plan has been registered. It only means that the survey plan has been done by a registered surveyor. Now, just like the name of the owner or owners of the property is very important on a survey document, the address of the property on the survey plan is also very, very important. The address must be very detailed particularly if that property is already in an urban area here in Lagos. Down from the street name to the plot name or the block name where that property is located, to the local government area, the states where the property is located must be detailed in the survey plan. The only excuse is if that property is actually still in a very rural location where there is no street name yet and a lot of these street demarcation have not been done. But the name of the community or village where that particular property is located must be there, including the local government area where that property is located. You are going to see some survey plan that were done, and you are going to see something like just Songotedu, Etiosa local government area, Lagos. That's not a detailed survey plan, because Songotedu is a very big town. The property can be located in anywhere in Songotedu, or a particular estate name is just located so estate, Songotedu, Etiosa. There are a lot of plots, block numbers and street names in that street. It must be detailed. The plot number or the block number or the house number, the street name, the name of the community or village, the local government area, and the particular state where that property is located must be clearly indicated on the survey plan documents. This is also another thing you need to check out for. The next thing that you need to check out in a survey plan document is the size of the land or the property that was surveyed. Now, one of the very key importance of a survey plan is to tell us the size of that property, either a property that you want to buy or a property that you own. Most times, the SI units or the measurement units will be indicated there. If that particular land was measured in feet, or if that particular land was measured in meters or in square meters, but now mostly is usually in square meters. If it's a large expanse of land, the number of hectares or the number of acres will also be indicated on the survey plan. Now, one of the things that we have been advising investors nowadays is that when you want to buy a property, and after you have done your charting and your verification, you also need to be sure about that size. If the size of the survey plan correlates with the actual land size that you want to buy. So most times it's advisable that you bring in an independent surveyor to remeasure the land, just to be sure that the 500 square meter, the 600 square meter, the 1000 square meter that is on that survey plan is accurate with what that land actually measures. Because there have been several cases and scenarios where a particular land size is on the survey plan and the land being sold is not actually up to that particular unit. And one very important thing about the size of the property or the size of the land is that this always indicates the price. If you are buying 1000 square meter, obviously it's going to cost more than 500 square meter or 900 square meter. Now imagine you paid for 1000 square meters as indicated in the survey plan, but when you want to build, you now realize that that land is maybe 760 square meter or 750 square meter. That's why it's always very good that you send in an independent surveyor to remeasure it. Even if you bought that land maybe from an Omonile or estate company, you can also still send your surveyor there just to remeasure it and be sure that the land you have there is actually accurate with what you have on your survey. Now, after the name on the survey plan, the second most important detail on a survey document is the plan number. The plan number is very, very important because the survey plan number will be included in your deed of assignment. The survey plan number will be included in your governor's consent. And if it's a CFO that you do on that property, the survey plan number will also be indicated in that your CFO. Now, the survey plan number is also the tracking number which they can use to check your application if you have started any perfection on that property. That means if you have filed that property for maybe CFO or governor's consent at the Ministry of Land, is your plan number, your survey plan number that are going to use to check out your own file or to track the particular stage that particular application have gotten into. That's why a survey document without a survey plan number is not a survey. It's not a survey document because it's useless. You can't use it for anything. There is no way you can lodge that particular survey. That means there is no way you can submit that particular survey document at the Ministry of Land for them to turn it into a registered survey, and there is no way you can process any land application or land document on that property at the Ministry of Land. So the survey plan number is a very, very important number on a survey document. So always check out for that. And any document that you have for your property, always show that the survey plan number correlates. So the survey plan number on the survey must correlate with the plan number in your deed of assignments, which has your name. If the survey plan has your name also. And if there is also any other document that you are submitting for application, you also need to ensure that the survey plan number on all those documents match and correlate with what you have in your survey plan. Is very, very important. Now, these were a lot of scams and different manipulations starts with the survey documents, the dates. Now, a lot of survey documents that you are going to see today or find today are always backdated. You see a survey plan being done in 2021 and it will be dated on a survey plan that was done in 1987 or 1994. A survey plan that was done in 2010, they'll be including 2002 or 2003 there. Now, at the Ministry of Land also, they are also waking up to this reality. So when there is a date manipulation on your survey document, they are likely to know. So the date on the survey plan document is also very, very important. One of the very key reasons or very key functions of the date is that this date will show when this land was transferred. For example, now if I buy a land today and I do a survey plan today, that means the year will be carrying 2021. So if I want to sell that particular land in 3 years time or in 4 years time, the lawyer of the buyer can easily trace the property history from whoever I bought that property from, because it's showing that I started to possess that property in 2021. So they can start to trace it back to, okay, who was the owner of that property before I bought it, how did that person got access to that property, and so on. So for a lot of verification and property history, the date on the survey plan is very, very important. Another very key reason why the date is also very important is that this date also shows that if we are doing that survey plan after that land has been gazetted or after that land has been excised, because all these excision and gazette are done at a particular year. Some gazettes were issued in 2004, some were issued in 2008, some were issued in 2009. Some people have done their survey maybe in 1990 or so. Now they will now move the dates of the survey to show that they bought that property after the gazette, after the place has been gazetted or after the place has been excised, so that they can process the document on that land. All these tricks that are going to know on the Ministry of Land, and you can be persecuted for that. So the date on the survey plan is also a very, very key detail, and this is where a lot of scamming and manipulation start from what a lot of scammers do on the survey plan here in Lagos. Now, another very common thing you are going to find on a survey document is the stamp and signature of the surveyor that did the survey plan. Like I said before, it's very advisable you give your survey to a registered surveyor. Don't just find one quack and give him 20,000 to do a survey for you. If a registered surveyor is charging you 100,000 for that survey plan, pay it. Just do it, because in the long run it's going to pay you based on a lot of details and a lot of accuracies that are going to do there. And it's also going to be very easy for you to track and trace that particular person in case there is any error on that particular survey. So a registered surveyor will also include a signature. You append a signature on that survey plan to show that he was the one that do the plan and he authorized his signature on that particular survey plan. Now there's also a common seal, a common stamp rather, that is registered surveyor also they put on a survey plan document. Sometimes it may not be a stamp, they're going to include something like free from government acquisition on the survey plan too. That's also very key. But that particular free from government acquisition doesn't necessarily mean that the property is actually free from government acquisition. There are a lot of survey plans that are on government acquired land, and it was stated there that free from government acquisition. You need to chart it to actually verify if rightfully so the property is free from government acquisition. So a survey plan document carrying free from government acquisition doesn't legitimately means that it is so. You need to chart it to verify that rightfully and accurately it is also free from government acquisition. Another very important thing that also has to be indicated in the survey plan is the shape of the land where that property is sitting on. Now, one of the very key importance of this shape of the land is that this will show which part of the land is facing the road. This will also indicate the different dimensions of the land, which is the size at the length and the size at the breadth. Now, there is always a way where these surveyors, they convert most of these measurements, because the initial measurement that will be on the land will always be in either square meter or acres or hectares with a large area of land. It can be 500 square meter, it can be 1,000 square meter at the top. Now, at the particular shape, they are now going to indicate the length of that land in meters or feet, depending, and also the breadth of that land in meters or in feet. Now, these dimensions are very important because this is what your architects or architectural team are going to use when they want to design your building plan. So it's very, very important that these dimensions are very, very accurate. Any simple or slight mistake in this dimension can render a building design useless. Now, another very important thing about the dimension is also, and this shape of the land, is that it's going to show the different land boundaries. So it will show where your land starts from and where your land ends from, and different landmarks around that area. Is there a stream? Is there a road? Is the land a corner piece? That's a land that is facing two roads. So that's also going to be indicated in that shape of the land. So these are very, very key things which you must look out for in a survey plan, and which you can also give a surveyor to help you verify, ascertain that everything that was actually drawn in that survey plan is actually the same thing as on the land that you want to buy. Now, lastly, the final thing the final detail that you need to look out for in a survey plan is the beacon numbers. Now, there are some survey documents that you are going to go to without beacon numbers. Now, that's where it should start from. When you want to do fence and your neighbor is telling you that your fence is already getting into his own land, or when you want to erect another building at the back or at the front of your land and they are telling you that that's another person's land. Now, this is what the beacon does. Now, a surveyor is not only charging you just for him or her to go to the land and measure it. Part of the role and the function of a surveyor is that they have to erect beacon at the different points and boundary areas of your land. Now, the beacon number is a very special number. They have to buy it, and it's only a surveyor that can buy it because there's a particular office where they buy these beacon numbers from. So after the surveyor has measured the land, he's going to go to the right office and the right ministry to buy the beacon numbers, then go back to the land and then place these beacon numbers at the different boundaries on that land. It can be 4, it can be 6, it can be 8, depending on the shape of the land. They are going to put all these beacons and beacon numbers at the different boundary points on the land. Then they're also going to include these beacon numbers on the survey plan too. Now, this beacon number is very important and will also be indicated in your CFO, that survey plan number so with beacon numbers so at the different points, which will also be indicated. So that's why if you do a survey plan and they don't indicate a beacon number on your survey plan documents, you can't use it to possess any documents. Just forget it. You are going to redo another survey. Now, whenever there is also a land dispute, it's also these beacon numbers the surveyors that are going to trace to actually map out, okay, this still falls within your land or this falls outside your land. Now, after the surveyor have also erected this beacon, you also need to confirm it that this beacon is there and the beacon numbers is there. And every time that you are also checking your property, you also need to be sure that these beacons are still there, because one of the first things that Omoniles do is that they first remove this beacon, so that when they want to resell it for someone else, they are not going to know that these beacon numbers are there. You get now? So that's why if you also want to buy a property from maybe someone else, an individual, you also need to check around for those beacons. You need to be sure that those beacons are there as indicated in the survey document. So we've shared a lot of tips here, we've shared a lot of guides here on what you should look out for in the survey plan documents and different survey scams that is there. Now lastly, one of the very important things that must also be in the survey plan is the coordinates. Now, I've always been repeating about coordinates a lot of times in my videos about verifications of properties. I talk a lot about coordinates because this is what a surveyor can use to chart your land. Charting simply means they do a search. If that property is under government acquisition, that property is free from government acquisition, falls under a gazette, or falls under annexation. Now, the coordinates will also be in the survey plan. But you still have to, if you want to buy a property, you still have to take a surveyor there to actually pick the coordinates on the site, because sometimes surveyors can manipulate these coordinates. I talked about that in one of my previous videos where I was talking about how you can lose your property despite having a CFO or governor's consent. So they can manipulate these coordinates and put a coordinate of a different location in a property that is in a different location. So even though they can process and perfect the title of that document, is still going to be revoked eventually, because what the coordinate that is showing on the survey plan is not the same as where that property is actually located. The property is located in Etiosa and coordinate is showing that property is located in Bejuleki or Ekpe. This is even very, very common. There are a lot of coordinates that you are going to collect from survey plan. Check it. That we're just going to tell you at the Ministry of Land in Alausa that land is not where they are saying it is. That land is showing a different place on their system. So that's why you don't have to give your survey plan to a quack. Give it to a registered surveyor. Let them put the right coordinates on that property, and they're going to do a land information certificate based on that coordinates to actually be true and certified that that land is free from government acquisition, and then they give you the survey plan. So these are the different details and description of the different information that are on the survey plan. So when a survey plan is done for you, these are the different things that you need to look out. Your names is accurately spelled. The size of the land is actually the same as what you paid for. Then the beacon numbers are there. The shape of the land is there. The different land boundaries and where the land is facing the road is also there. There's a survey plan number, which is very, very important. There is a surveyor seal showing that that survey plan was actually done by a registered surveyor, with his signature also appended there and a date. So if you have further questions about any other things, any other details I've explained in this video, you can always reach us directly on WhatsApp. Our WhatsApp number is on the screen, and you can also send us an email also. We are going to put you through some other things that you don't understand fully yet. So I see many number of property guy on the planet, your property advisor, your property consultant, Rabi Mustafa. For everyone that have been watching our video, that have been liking our videos and be sharing, we appreciate you guys a lot. And for those that haven't subscribed yet, one of the ways that you can support us, one of the ways that these informations and details can get across to more people is by you subscribing to our channel and also sharing with your contacts. So thanks for watching again, and see you next time.